Well, hello folks. I want to do this video. These aren't going to last anymore. Just so everybody knows, when I do lives, they're going to be more for updating or to bring you into something you're going to have to go to catch the content and keep the content and subscribe to that. This is the new Facebook. For now, at least all of my written content, anything I've written or pictorially created is still there, but largely all the videos are going. It's going to be everybody. Most people are going to get their 30 days to keep their videos. I wasn't as fortunate. I got torn down. And that brings me to today and this letter I created as somewhat of a test of the folks on 51st State. There's been a lot of bad actors, bad apples, I've suspected for quite a while. So I posted this letter. I shared it in 3 groups. I got completely 3 different directions. I'm a raised Albertan. Of course, it was taken lightheartedly in Alberta, but not. And what should have came of it, that it was an obvious fake letter, obviously, that you should have got the gist of it, the mentality of the politicians, that they've written this letter. They've already, for all intents and purposes, written this letter. This is me writing it, point form for the average Joe Jane, to get their mentality and thinking. And we're going to go in a minute through this letter that I posted today and the vast differences between Alberta's statehood movement, who took it as it should have been taken, 51st State Canada, my page, and how, the bad actors come out of the woodwork. And I have a lot of folks, probably a good half dozen, you gotta go. You're not really there for 51st State. You're not interested in really pursuing that. It may even be as much as a dozen. I have 1 moderator to kick. That's going to happen. Sometimes my page takes time to load. I'm going to be booting that 1 moderator. We are for Canada, the 51st State. If you don't like that or you don't subscribe to that, no problem. Beat it, right? There's lots of crown parties for you to follow. But this letter was really a test. I guess it's a psychological test. It's what Americans want me to know. And I got it. I sadly got it. And I more so got it absolutely from my own page, Canada, the 51st State page. Lots of bad actors, a lot of folks that are there that aren't really for 51st State. They're there to destroy that. They're to try to sink it. They're not there for any other purpose but to destroy it because they don't like it. They love their crown, their Canada. These are probably a lot of freeloaders. These are people that will make unsubstantiated claims and accusations because they're guilty of all those things. I'm going to go through what was deleted. What's really beautiful is I still have all the slides of every video I've ever done. I've always been very smart to at least back up the content with screenshots, government sources, all of that. So we're going to go through Justin Trudeau's timeline, his prime ministerial credible real letters, dates as of today, what's been enforced today, what we're seeing happen in Facebook land. We have an out-of-control autocratic dictator and 10 premiers who pretend that somehow they're not with him, but they certainly are. They're all bad actors. And once again, I'm going to revisit this. A lot of this came, absolutely, it's updated now, but I even have a slideshow of my powerful presentation video too, where I substantiate all claims. I even give you the DEA publications, the FBI sting publications, and of course Homeland Security publications. They're all there. Saved forever, at least, well, I shouldn't say forever. My videos are gone. So that's sad. It's funny. Facebook destroys that on me. And then all the bad actors come out of the woodwork. Accusations, slamming, you're a manipulator, you're doing drugs, you've done this, you've done that. As a lot of you know, that's not true. But it shows me what's on my site. And what really scared me was that not one of the massive majority ever once took the critical bread and butter out of this that comes from my video too, that Canadians have no real sense of life or value. And, you know, as a younger man, I learned this lesson. My friend Barnesy, he's now a pipe fitter. When you see him, he looks very tired, hunched, slouched, body is bad, looks like he's probably a terrible alcoholic or substance abuser. But that's not what happened to him. You see, way back in time, he worked offshore rigs. I worked the rigs too. We all got her in that way. He went offshore. He was in South America on an American rig, or sorry, a Canadian company, but an American contract. So there were Americans there too. And rebels, basically terrorists from the South American coast, had shot and killed a pile of the crew, kidnapping the rest. My friend Barnesy was one of those kidnapped. He was drugged to the island along with all the Americans. Canadian government did nothing for him and the other Canadians. Every day somebody was executed. Barnesy lived there for more than 90 days, was a frail skeletal by the time he had been secured and released. And that was done by the company of the United States of America, not Canada. That was my first example of it. It kind of made me fearful of going offshore or any kind of overseas work with Canada, and knowing what he went through, the horrific experience of it, all of that. But what was really traumatizing was the stories of how he was bound in his hands, and the only time he got to drink water as they were starving them was when it had rains, and the rains were torrential, and he would literally put his face down into the ruts created by the trucks that would fill up with muddy water, and he'd drink that water to survive. And of course, he got a parasitic infection, South American parasite, that just destroyed his immune system, his spinal system, turning him into the hunch, slouch, and neurological disorder he suffers with for the rest of his life and to this day. But this is what I mean about value of life, and the point of even that story is Canadians never cared, really. Oh, the heartfelt prayers, and I remember all that, his family, but the government didn't really do anything. And this is just one story I personally know of, his experience, and how it was actually the United States is the only reason why I got out. And it was at the good grace of the American government and Americans who really wanted all their people home. Canadians executed, Canada didn't give two shits. They never have. And I remember since that day, I always told people, don't ever get in trouble overseas. Your Canadian government could care less about you. We're subjects. And I think I didn't know that term then, but I certainly know it now, and it applies then as it always has. And even before that, it applies today. If you're not in that first class, you can forget about it when it comes to Canada. Which brings me to this letter and even Canadians' response. The whole point of this letter, which I'm going to get into, and actually I'm going to go back and blow it up so everybody can see it. So I wrote this fictional letter, which really should be easily seen. And part of it is a test just to see are people bamboozled or whatever. But this information in this letter is 100% accurate. What's not accurate is it's not on the Government of Canada website, and Justin Trudeau didn't write this. It's what he believes. It's what he's effectually done, which I'm going to prove in a minute, and all your premiers. I'm going to prove that in a minute. as I did 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks ago in a part 2 live video with slides, the works, irrefutable evidence collected off government websites, American government websites, all the American reports, what brought us to this fentanyl crisis with Canada and what Donald J. Trump's talking about. So I said, Dear Donald J. Trump, I, Justin Trudeau, and my 10 premiers, in response, spelt wrong, obviously, to the 51st state of Canada threat and concede capitalism on things it shouldn't be. It's my writing. Everyone who knows me knows that. Threat and the DEA, FBI, and Homeland Security reports of 30 dead Americans a week present this final offer, February 6, 2025, to nullify sanctions and trade embargoes. 1, we will cut the provincial nomination program for the 10 provinces in half. 2, this we estimate should save 15 dead Americans a week, as well as cut down from 100,000 destroyed American lives to now 50,000. The illegal in America made legal Canada program will remain halved till you lose midterms or have left office in 4 years. On behalf of myself and the 10 premiers, we urge you to cut a deal now and celebrate the small victory that will mean a lot to the media. Sincerely yours, Justin Trudeau, and the 10 premiers of the provinces of Canada. Now, this is a letter I wrote, all fictional, and it even gives you clues at the top. Everybody knows. He even says templates. Like, it's clear there. Anyone can myth bust it. The bread and butter of this was what was important. The reaction. 1 was to see that people can spot fakes. 2 is to look at this and see if you could, at least out of this, first reaction, if anything, would be that it's unacceptable for anyone to lose their life. I had only 1 woman out of 3 groups respond with outrage on how could they care only about half. And now, like I said, this is a fictional letter, obviously fictional. It's clearly fictional. No signature, template at the top, spelling mistakes, capitals. Anyone who knows me knows I wrote it, and it's complete fiction that Trudeau didn't write it. And that was the point of it. 1, to get the idea of the government's mentality. But, and I let that fly, and I let everybody spit, shit, call me down, accuse me, do everything. And so I quickly posted the actual letter. Actual letter dated yesterday. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, it's on the Prime Minister of Canada website. I've already read it. I read it before I did my fictional letter. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau meets with premiers to discuss Canada-USA relations and Arctic security. Today, and it's dated February 20th, 2025, so yesterday, Ottawa, Ontario. Today, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, the Minister of National Defence Bill Blair, Canada's Ambassador in the United States, Kirsten Hillman, and Canada's fentanyl czar, Kevin Brazeau, met virtually with Canada's premiers to discuss Canada-USA relations and Arctic security. The Prime Minister updated the premiers on Canada's fight against fentanyl and the continued implementation of Canada's border plan since their last meeting on February 5th, implemented February 6th. In my letter, fact, not fiction, released in my part 2 video, I still have all the actual slides. These measures include listing 7 criminal organizations as terrorist entities, launching new anti-money laundering measures, tackling fentanyl trafficking, modernizing the regulatory framework for banning precursors, and it goes on and on, illegal importation and use, which it's not illegal in India and China, as I showed you, which are the 2 main sources of Canada's immigration. You should already all know this. I have all of the slides accurate from all government websites, cross my T's, dot my I's. But this is the update. This is the 20th, but it references that February 5th. It was put in February 6th by the premiers. So, Neil Singh, press secretary for Alberta Immigration and Multiculturalism, a real joke, right? The federal government, and if you look at my part 2 video that's been erased, but if you at least look at all the slides, you can see who is apprehended from what family name, right? So obviously Alberta is comfortable with it. The federal government has cut all provincial nomination program allocations by 50%, including Alberta's Advantage Immigration Program. That's the truth. I'll minimize that for you all. Right? And look at the name. If you look back on the February 6th results, it was 2 Singhs who were busted in the United States. Apparently to Americans, right? Because they're not highlighted in any way on any ID that they're actually not Canadian citizens, folks. They're not ID'd as anything other than Canadian, even though they aren't Canadian. They were permanent residents, non-Canadian citizens, with Alberta driver's licenses, BC driver's licenses, others. USA's figuring this out. They just take it for, oh, they're Canadian, and then Canada, oh, no, they're not. Well, why are non-Canadians crossing the border with full passports and ID? Oh, they're part of our provincial immigration program. So Trudeau responded, you know the terror threats, right? That we got 30 days for. Folks, this is going back in time. They cut the P&P program by 50%, right? This is Alberta's 50%. 22 hours ago, this is all now public. But I showed you it was all public back 3 weeks ago when I showed my video and all the slides and the Americans' overwhelming evidence from who? The FBI, DEA first, through FBI as well in their busts, and Homeland Security. Terrorism, right? War on America. All proven. Clearly proven beyond any doubt. Now, this is BC's. Oh, look. BC agreed to. I don't do all the provinces. I could. Right? But all. Yes, Canada's provincial nomination allocations were reduced compared to 2024. This is part of a large effort to reduce overall numbers of immigrants coming into Canada. It was all provinces, but I'll show you more. And here, there's Ontario, right? Yes, Canada's provincial nomination allocation reduced by 50% compared to 2024. This absolutely cemented in vote on February 5th, implemented February 6th. And Donald J. Trump said, okay, I'll give you 30 days. We'll see the results. Okay? See the results. This is where my make-believe letter comes into play here. Provinces warn Ottawa. The provinces didn't even want to do it. Justin Trudeau said, look, Trump's going to hit us with sanctions to trade embargoes. He's threatening to destroy Canada if we don't cut it. It's coming from illegal immigrants according to American law that you're allowing to go across the border by making them legal in Canada, which confuses the border security. They think they're all Canadian. They even have Nexus cards. This is a fact. This is a fact. I've already given the slideshow and the overwhelming evidence. It's on my timeline. The video's erased, but all the slides are still there. Sorry, I jumped ahead there. Yeah, so all of that's in place. You see the number 50%. In the slides, according to the fentanyl bust highlighted by Donald J. Trump, February 3rd, a signed report, DEA, FBI, Homeland Security, over 95 kilograms of fentanyl. Enough, they said, to kill 30 Americans a week Do the math, multiply by 52 weeks a year. Canada's response is, oh, give us more time. Oh, we're going to cut the program in half. Well, any logical person today, this is published just yesterday, but was decided February 6th. Their thinking was, Trump, we've cut it in half. It's only going to be 50% of 30 a week. That's 15. It's only going to be 15 dead Americans a week. 50% of 100,000. According to the DEA, FBI, and Homeland Security. 100,000 times 50%, 50,000. Or of 50%, 50,000 American families affected. That's Canada's mentality and solution. We're going to reduce it by half. Can you accept that? Well, Donald Trump's going to see what reducing it by half is in 30 days. But folks, the whole highlight here is, well, just like the story I told you of Barnsey, every single American kidnapped off that rig was valued. None of the Canadian lives from the Canadian government were valued. Any media person ever kidnapped reporting for Canada in these third world countries have all said the same thing. They've even written books about being brutalized and begging Canada, and Canada turns around and tells everybody on the news, we talked to them, they're doing just fine, even though they've lost, they're a skeleton, they're frail, bruises, beaten. You know what I mean? And the Canadian government tells all of you they're fine because they don't care. Just like this mentality, it's only half as much. This should be good enough. We can reduce it by half. That's the wrong answer with the United States of America. It doesn't matter if it's president or your average American. When the average American sees this, and it's a great video, that letter is truthful in the mentality. And it also highlights institutionalization of the average Canadian. Majority of Canadians, even on my page, it showed that the first reaction was not to look at this as it really is. It was to condemn me over facing the truth. And here, like I always show, nothing but concrete, accurate evidence. What would you derive from everything I've just shown you that's absolute from the government of Canada? All sources on the internet today, according to yesterday, the 20th. Does it not ring true, that letter? Fictional letter, obviously fictional, but the premise of that letter, is that not exactly what Justin Trudeau and your 10 premiers are saying to Donald J. Trump? I'm putting you in the mind of what Donald J. Trump and the GOP, their highest level staff, are thinking as an American. That's what they read out of what all the provinces and the Prime Minister has presented to them. And this 30 days that, so half the Americans is acceptable to you? Affecting half the American families acceptable to you? The correct answer is ending all of the deaths, all, as much as you possibly can, not half. That is what we're dealing with here. And that should have been what everybody picked up on, but it wasn't. It was right away backstab, accuse, slander, anything but real humanity or facing a real truth, backed up with nothing but clear evidence. And I know this isn't my longtime followers so much, and I see a lot are there. Others will drift off. Oh, no. But this is real. Now, this video will disappear in 30 days. I mean, I can download these, but I'm just going to make videos from now on that are going to be massive, detailed, professional. I'm doing one right away this weekend because I have to. I'm still waiting to hear from CBC. I think it's funny that it was done on the 20th, where this video disappears. and all this released on the 20th that I'm highlighting again today that'll be deleted in 30 days, that Donald J. Trump and GOPC and the Canadian government and the premiers don't want you to know or see. And I've highlighted that, and I saw the overwhelming hate of the majority. It's sickening, it's gross, it's not unexpected. I went through this in Alberta independence too. The amount of backstabbing and sheer will to go back to the crown, all reason and sanity had something, and the whole idea was to destroy it as quickly as possible. People only there to destroy. I see it clearly. I've been at this for a very long time. I see people coming a mile away. People are showing, oh, you got to talk to this person, that person, this person. I look at some of their posts. I see what they're about. And I know, usually within 2 minutes, and I see Jonathan there and a few other really loyal people who've been with me a long time. You guys know that, and some of you I've talked to, I can smell what I call a lie, like a fart in a car, real quick. A lot of people I can catch real quick just by their posts. Other con artists have got me too, and some of you see past that. But when it comes to the crown and their love of it, I can sniff it out pretty good just by some key markers, and I do. And I see those people on our page, and it's sad, it's got to go. It's always going to be like it was in the Alberta Independence Party. I routinely had to clean house, at some points change moderators when you know that somebody, they're just not cut out for it. They can't see what you're trying to produce. They may have good intentions, but it's just not cut out for them. So that's going to be happening. We want to just stay focused on what is and what we can prove, which absolutely can. And sometimes I will make posts like this, as I do on pages. I usually don't do this on my feeds, and you're all not used to it. But in Alberta Independence, I did it quite a bit, and I'd sniff people out, and I'd make things like this to open up the attack, see who's who and what they really are, and see how fast they were to condemn you. And I am the last person in the world, as a lot of you know, I'm the last person in the world that ever says something if I can't back it up. I'm extremely careful, very careful. I've learned painful lessons over the years, and now I make sure everything is backed up, which this was. I had all this sitting in the background, waiting to see the reactions of my letter and to see, and I certainly got it. And of course, I got it on Canada the 51st state page. I got it. And I see there's a large volume of people who only are there to destroy this growth, this party, this from happening, and they're not there to support us. And I know, because people would take memberships. We've got quite a few, actually. It's been good. It's been good. And Courtney Curlio, we can thank for that. She's been really hard at her, and it's really good. And we have grown. We've grown quite a bit, so it's good. 2 a day or 1, 2, 3 a day. There's nothing wrong with that. We already have our numbers. We'll see how it all rolls out. Still need the accountant. I'm still going to be hammering for that. I really hope for the CBC. We'll see, and maybe this weekend they will. But I don't know now with all my videos chopped out like this. Like, it is an epic what in the F. And, it's sad. And going forward, I'll only be able to do lives, but I'll have to record them at the same time, especially these professional ones. I have to revisit so many. It's going to be many, many months of work. And actually, my hours are cut at work here for the next few months. So if I'm going to be off, I think you guys are going to watch me rebuild a pile of videos, and we'll go from there. But I just want everyone to see, and the shakeout will happen. I will shake out the bad apples. You will see this routinely from me. We can't build a machine we need to build with any bad apples. Numbers mean nothing. We need literally only 2,000 people loyal to what we're doing to get it done. So what good is us approaching 4,500 if 3,500 of them are no good for nothing, or aren't really on board with what we're doing or are not willing to do what it takes. And that's where I know there's a good following, probably about, well, it kind of matches nearly close to our memberships. There's probably about 1,500 that are ready to get on board with this and do what it takes. But when you have the overwhelming majority not and on the offensive and attack, it's because they want to destroy it. They're not really for you. They're with some other bad actors. So I will clean it. You will see more and more of this. Don't get alarmed, but you'll see me play, I guess you could call it, games like this just to test the waters. But don't ever think for a minute I don't have all my ducks in a row. I always do, and I always prove my case. I always do. I never go in empty-handed or flat-footed. I go in ready to win. So thanks, everybody. That's my video. You'll see a lot of people drift off, and that is always been, as a lot of you know, we go up, we go down, and it's important to do that, especially in building the party. It's better to go down than go with the garbage. Go with that will destroy you when it matters most, and they will. Thank you all. That's my video. It's not a big, you should share. These will always be these 2, 3, 4 week, I don't know, video shares, and then they're gone. But I will be introducing a website. I'm going to get to work on that this weekend. I have to redo a major video for American media company. You're going to see, and you're all going to know that they actually took my video analysis and made their own. I have to now add to that to kind of not myth bust, but say, hey, you're missing these key things. You don't see this about Canada, or let alone Canada as a 51st state. You need to understand this if you're going to be making videos where you're reaching 150,000 people. That's bad, because that's not accurate. So thanks, everybody. Yes, share. Always get it out there. But remember, these things are up 2, 3, 4 weeks. I don't know. And they'll be erased. Thank you. Bye now.